Episode 1 of Season 3 opened in Abbotsville, Maine, with Richter attempting to sell old vinyl records at a record store. While there, he noticed an attempted kidnapping of a college kid and intervened, but accidentally shoots and kills a cop in the process. The person Richter rescued is Richard Beck, the son of a wealthy rug merchant. After having shot a cop with an unlicensed gun and evading campus police, Richter plans to lay low and tells Richard to find a way home. Richard convinces Richter to carry him home, promising that his rich father will repay Richter for saving his son from a second kidnapping. Richter then meets Paul Van Hoven, aka Paulie, a member of the security crew and guardian of the gate. Richter goes on to meet Chapman Duke, head of security, and then Zachary Beck, Richard's father. Richter lets Beck know that he needs a place to lay low for a few days while he scrapes up enough money to buy a fake ID since he killed a cop. After running Richter's prints and checking his background, Beck decides to offer Richter a job. But first, Beck tells Richter to do a round of Russian roulette to prove that he has stones and can follow orders. Richter does one round without shooting himself, seemingly under duress. But after that, Richter voluntarily does another 3 rounds. That landed Richter the job and also showed that he is somewhat of a psycho. Once Richter was alone and satisfied that the room wasn't bugged, he made a call with a hidden cell phone to let someone know he was in. We then flash back to days earlier when Richter spotted a man he recognized across the street but was unable to get to him before the car drove away. Richter calls the 110th Special Investigators and asks Warrant Officer Powell to run the license plate of the car. The system seems to be down, so Powell promises to contact Richter at his motel with the information when the system is back online. While at the motel, Richter is visited by federal agents.
Nice place.
Motel 6 was booked.
This is like a Motel 2.
It's not like I invited you here, Agent.
Duffy, Susan Duffy. The 2 you left standing in the door with their dicks in their hands are Elliot and Villanueva.
Why'd you run?
Agent Duffy explains that Warrant Officer Powell gave up Richter and there is a federal investigation looking into a rug import business called Bizarre Bazaar. Several weeks earlier, a high-level drug dealer from LA flew to Maine for a meeting with the owner of Bizarre Bazaar. So the DEA thinks that the owner is the drug dealer's supplier and a major player in the drug business on the west side of the country. The DEA's problem is that they can't dig anything up on the owner, but the license plate that Richter ran is the same one on the car that carried the rug business owner to the meeting with the LA drug dealer. The agents tell Richter that given his history as an Army super cop, they need his help with getting something on Beck. Richter says they need to do something for him before he will help them. Richter asks them to check hospital records around Linton, Virginia on or after March 2012. They're to check for an Asian American man in his 40s carried in with injuries consistent with a small caliber gunshot wound to the head, a high fall, and drowning. Duffy comes back to Richter and lets him know that they found out about his guy. The doctors figure that the freezing water saved him by slowing his heart rate so he didn't bleed, and decreased oxygen demand prevented brain damage. He was diagnosed with traumatic amnesia and didn't seem to remember what happened to him or who he was. A search for his prints came back empty, he didn't match any missing persons reports, and nobody came looking for him, so he was classified as John Doe. Richter lets them know that John Doe is Lieutenant Colonel Francis Xavier Quinn of Military Intelligence, who sold military secrets to hostile nations. They were never able to arrest Quinn. Duffy deduces that Richter saw Quinn in Beck's car and he wants to find him. Duffy explains to Richter that she screwed up on the case of Darian Prado, the LA drug lord, with inadmissible surveillance due to a bad warrant. The DEA pulled the team from the case and they're now working it off the books because Duffy doesn't let bad guys walk. She's now focused on Beck. If they get Beck, they get Prado too. Duffy sent a confidential informant, 20-year-old Teresa Daniel, to apply for a job as a secretary at Beck's company. Teresa got the job, but disappeared afterwards. Duffy suspects that Teresa got caught snooping at Beck's, and then something happened to her. Duffy tells Richter that she's putting him inside Beck's operation to find Teresa and Quinn. She also tells him that Beck's son was kidnapped 5 years ago, and his ear was cut off by the kidnappers. Duffy's plan is for Richter to get in with Beck by saving his son Richard from being kidnapped a second time. They then come up with a plan to fake the kidnapping, including making it look like Richard's bodyguard was killed in the attempt. They will hold the bodyguard indefinitely on trumped-up drug possession charges so he won't be able to tip off Beck. Elliot will play the part of the kidnapper. Richter will pretend to kill a cop, played by Villanueva, to rule out Richard wanting to report the incident to the police. They will have a getaway vehicle set up for Richter to pretend to break into and pretend to hotwire, as Richter doesn't know how to actually hotwire a vehicle. Back in the present day, Richter tells Duffy about the job interview and that he used his gun, so he always knew where the bullet was. He had marked a chamber for the fake kidnapping so he could know which had live rounds versus blanks. The captured bodyguard isn't talking, but Reacher thinks he may have a lead on Teresa, as he saw Duke take food outside, and he believes there is a hidden cellar in the carriage house, where he had his job interview.
Reacher,
I'm in the cellar.
is Teresa there?
No. But she was.